Welcome to today's webinar. We'll go ahead and get started with just a quick agenda. We'll go over some introductions of who you're talking with today. If you haven't met us before, haven't seen our faces, we'll go over that. We'll then go through a Q3 review. Lots happened in Q3, a lot of really new cool features that people were super excited about. So we'll go through a quick review of those because we know what a lot of people join these in for is, of course, hearing from our lovely Jordan here about what is coming soon. We'll talk about what's in queue as well, which is just as exciting, as well as some resources for you to help you just take advantage of Hoodoo's offerings and how we can help here. And of course, we'll go through some Q&A stuff as well. More on that here in a sec. So your host today, I guess both of us are Jordan Hart, huh? I didn't even notice that. My name's Jordan Hart. No, my name's Daniel Nelson. I am an account manager here with Hoodoo. If you've attended one of these webinars before, if you've done a demo with us, if you've done best practices, there's a good chance that was with myself. So again, I see a lot of familiar faces here. Great seeing you again. At least we have my picture up there. That's right. So thanks for joining in here, Jordan. If you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. My name is Jordan Hart. I am the product manager here at Hoodoo. I have been with Hoodoo for about 4 years. So if you're a older customer, I probably met with you for the first couple demos and things. But nowadays, kind of directing product direction where we want to go, coordinating with a lot of our customers on features and what the best way to approach those features are. In terms of season, Daniel, I think I've got two. It's got to be summer for all the activities you can do, and obviously football season right now. So,
Uh, yeah, you're sure your fantasy team is doing great, Jordan. As I'm sure as everybody's in the chat. So yeah, very nice to have you all in here. And yeah, if you haven't met us, great to virtually meet you. So a little bit of housekeeping that we always like to do. So obviously we had some people engage in the chat already. That is fantastic. We love to have these be as engaging as possible. You know, talk to other Hoodoo users, talk to us. That's one of our favorite thing about this webinar, honestly, is that it is the most engaging one we have, which we love. But we do for questions, for requests, things that you want us to answer and prioritize. We're going to ask that you put those in the Q&A. Again, use chat to kind of chat with each other. You know, if you like, oh, this feature looks awesome or anything like that, definitely put that in the chat. For Q&A though, questions, comments, you know, anything that you want us to address, we will be looking at those all throughout. And of course, we'll have dedicated Q&A time at the end. Afterwards, a lot of people that aren't joining or are and want to go look at the recording or send those to your friends, family, anybody in between. These recordings will be posted to our community site. More on that later if you haven't checked out the community yet. But we will, of course, supply this recording to you for afterwards. Okay, so 5 minutes in, perfect time. So let's go ahead and jump into some Q3 review. I'm going to be talking about this. Jordan will be answering some questions as they come in the chat. So if you have questions, Jordan will go ahead and get some of those answered. We will also, of course, save some and answer those throughout as well, especially as we get into some of those features that I will actually be talking about. I do see a couple things in there as well that are features that were released in Q3. We'll go a little more in depth about what's here and, of course, what's coming soon as well, enhancing these features. So we'll start out here talking through some new integrations that were added in Q3. The first of those being Intune. This was one of our largest feature requests. It allows you to pull in device information from Intune. We've had our Microsoft 365 integration for a while now for contacts and licensing info. But now you can sync in your devices and compliance status from Intune. So again, one of our top feature requests that we had, I think it was in the top three. So very nice that we were able to deliver this during this quarter. And if you haven't set up the Intune integration yet and want to sync in some of that device information, go feel free to do so as that is now a active live integration. Next added integration is going to be TypeSense. This came in our latest release, 2.39. And this is a way to fine tune your searching. Everybody searches differently in your documentation in other platforms. So this allows you to customize your search for what works best for your organization. Now, obviously, we have done a lot of search improvements throughout, the past couple of years, and we continue to do that throughout. This is not a replacement to Hoodoo's native search. We will continue to and have worked to improve search in Hoodoo's native UI going forward. This is just a way to kind of customize how you search, rather than just have, a designated way that we build that search out. So again, if you're interested in this integration, we have our documentation. You can go to our support site and view that there. Next would be Google Workspace. This is the final integration that was added in Q3. Again, pretty similar to the Microsoft 365 integration, but for your Google Workspace clients, pulling in the user and licensing information into Hoodoo from those Google Workspace tenants. So those were the 3 integrations added. If you've joined these before and if you've been with Hoodoo for a while, TypeSense for searching makes sense. Good comment there, Larry. So if you've been with Hoodoo for a while, been a customer for a while, you know that we are very API focused as well. We are consistently adding new API endpoints as well as enhancing existing ones to make sure that our API is in line with the UI of our platform as possible. Essentially, our goal that we always talk about is anything that you can do with the native UI of Hoodoo, we want to give you the ability to do with the API as well. This past quarter added password folder API endpoints to allow you to automate your folder creation. Again, we're always adding these new endpoints and adding enhancements to existing ones. So if you do have any additional API endpoints or additions to ones that we currently have that you want to see, always feel free to add a discussion in community, submit a feature request, put those in the chat here. It's definitely a big priority of ours each quarter. Now we get into some of the kind of dedicated features that were added in 2.38, 2.39, as well as some other kind of external apps releases as well. First of those being expanded bulk actions. Again, all of these features that we're adding in come directly from our customer feedback, what you are asking for. A big thing that we got feedback on is we want our editors, authors, technicians to be able to do more, like bulk actions, moving records to different areas, changing folders, changing companies. Changing colors now is a thing that you can do. And so this was a big one, kind of like a big little thing that we added. And of course, we plan to allow more editors and authors to do more of this in the future. More access to things. We added the expanded access to documentation tools last quarter. So you can definitely expect more of this. It's a fine line of we want to, some people want their editors and authors and techs to be able to do more. Some people want them to do less, but we want to make sure that, your feedback is heard. So just like I just said with the API endpoints, always feel free to put in your requests for these and kind of what you want your technicians to be able to do. That brings us to our next one, which is, of course, the most probably anticipated feature request that we've had in these past couple of quarters, that being connected fields. We actually had a Q&A question, which Jordan already answered on connected fields. But this feature basically allows you to connect your integration fields to your Hoodoo asset fields. There's a couple really big benefits of this. They can now be placed in table views. So that's a big one for, rather than having to click into each asset to find integration information, now you can see that all in the table. You can also have that information be searchable using comprehensive search. Again, huge plus to find information quickly. Also exportable, and also having this documentation now be a part of version history. As changes happen from your integrations, you have that full audit log now directly within your asset. Now, again, I know we've had a couple questions already about kind of what fields were able to be connected. And trust me, we've got quite a lot of feedback on this, and which is great. That's exactly what we wanted. This is, of course, version 1 of connected fields. We do plan to add more in the future, and any feedback that we can get about What fields are missing from these data points? What other fields do you want to see be able to be connected? Always great to hear, always good feedback. So please let us know those additional kind of data points that you would like. And hopefully, so far, you've been enjoying some of these fields that can be connected here. Um, Obviously, having your IP addresses, serial numbers, things like that, being able to be connected and in that table view and copyable now quickly and automated rather than having to manually add those in is a huge bonus. Jordan, I'll stop here for a sec because I know we've got a couple questions on these connected fields and you've been kind of monitoring the Q&A. Is there anything else that you wanted to add on this based off of questions that have been asked?
Just what you said is probably the biggest point of connected fields in no way is done. We will continue to add additional data points that we can pull from those integrations and allow them to be in the connected or be connected into the native fields. That will probably continue happening over at least the next 4 or 5 updates and potentially even into the future past that. Just gonna read through these. Misha, no NinjaOne custom fields, I don't believe are supported. We've added it to a couple integrations so far, but I don't believe NinjaOne is one of those yet. Again, feature requests are upvoting that feature request. I do know it's a feature request already on the feedback page, but we will be kind of addressing that fairly soon. Getting the tags from NinjaOne RMM2, not sure on that one. I'd have to look more into that. I don't believe I've seen a previous feature request for that, so I'd have to dive a little bit deeper before I could give a solid answer on that. Halo PSA email field, Emil, I think that was actually either just added in one of the hot fixes or potentially the one that's about to come out that is or has been getting developed. I think that's pretty much it so far, Daniel.
Yep. Perfect. Thank you, Jordan. Just wanted to make sure. I know we had a couple of questions in there, so just wanted to make sure we hit all of those for now. Again, if you have more, for instance, like we just had one from Emil about a new connected field option, again, feel free to submit those to us. Always great hearing the feedback, and that's really why we do these as well, is we want to provide you information, but we also want to gather information from our customers about what they feel is needed with Hoodoo, which is always great. So thanks for sending in those, and you can continue to do so. Again, we'll be doing Q&A throughout and a big session of Q&A at the end. So feel free to keep submitting your questions in here. I'm going to now move on to the next feature that was added from this last couple releases, and that's going to be customizing your table views. Again, like I talked about with expanded bulk actions, this is a pretty common feedback point that we get is we want to be able to customize what we see at the technician level, right? Because obviously there's a lot you can do with various things in Hoodoo at the global level for saying this is the views that people are going to see. This was the first step in doing this at a technician level, customizing what you're seeing in your tables. For instance, passwords, as you can see in this image here. Now you have the ability, if as a technician, I don't care about the parent, I don't care about the notes, I don't care about if it's in the portal or not, I can go ahead and change my view for that and only see what I need to see. For assets right now, you can do this with last created and updated. We got a little bit of feedback from people saying, hey, we don't really care about seeing this on our assets. How can I remove this? This is now how you can. Now, again, as with a lot of the things I'm talking about, enhancements are coming. So this will be coming to assets as well, where as a technician, you can actually customize your view of specific asset columns. So again, not going to hop into too much of what's coming soon, as that's going to be Jordan's main role in this webinar, but just know that a lot of these features I'm talking about today, there are other enhancements coming soon. Next up, we have workflows. This goes hand in hand with what I just said. A lot more coming soon on this as well. But for now, this is your new way of automating record flagging. A good example of a very good use case that you can do with this is setting up a review process for things. So for instance, when passwords are added to your Hoodoo instance, now you can set up a workflow to basically say when a password is created, let's go ahead and flag that password and say that review is required on it. That way, as an admin, when new documentation is getting created inside of Hoodoo, you know that, and you can go in and review that documentation, and it'll be automatically flagged, and of course, can then be accessed in the flag review section of Hoodoo. Maybe when a tech needs to go update a KB article, same functionality. That can be flagged for that update, and then you can go in and review that new article and the changes that came with it. Again, lots more to come with this. For example, one of the things that will be coming is the ability to kick off webhooks based off of workflows as well. And again, always feel free to put suggestions in the chat, create discussion in community. That's definitely a big place that we want, discussion like this to happen. So other Hoodoo users can say, oh, that's a good idea. We would love to see that workflow. Oh, we would like to see this one as well. So again, definitely engage with us about those workflows, and we look forward to kind of contributing more to this in the future. But hopefully, this is helping your team kind of standardize a good review process already. Next one, another huge request that we got is photo folders, and super happy to deliver on this as well. Of course, pretty self-explanatory, basically the ability to organize your folders. This is available in the mobile app as well. So when your techs are on site and need to take a quick photo of something, they can upload it directly into the folder that they need to. So again, this is just a big one for your organization of those folders throughout your companies. And the last one and newest feature that we just released is a addition to our browser extension. Obviously, screen capture has been very, very, very popular. Feature that was added to our browser extension, and a big feedback that we got for that was, okay, great, we can take these images, but we want to be able to edit those on the go. We want to be able to blur things, right? Maybe have sensitive information, a sensitive password or something like that. Well, here, now you have the ability to do so with this new addition to screen capture. You can crop, you can zoom, you can redact, you can customize these images, which really allows for just more customization of your screenshots using that screen capture feature. So if you haven't tested this out yet, definitely go test it out, and hopefully this helps kind of create those workflows for processes and KB articles even better. We'll now go into a couple big little updates, and then we will go back and just make sure all of these questions are answered. I know Jordan's been answering them, kind of responding to those via message, but we'll go ahead and make sure that we have everything cleared up on the call as well, and then we'll go ahead and jump into what's coming soon. So a couple big little updates that I wanted to touch on. JIT provisioning, just-in-time provisioning. So basically, allows you the ability to kind of automate new user creations when new team members are added to Hoodoo. The moment they're added with SSO, there's no setup required for the users anymore. So you can have that just-in-time provisioning. More on this kind of enhancements coming soon for easier automated user creation, but definitely a nice to have when you're constantly adding users in your environment. They're added very quickly now, just based off of the SSO. This was a big one as well. Had a couple of use cases of the character limit for OTP codes being a little too small. Again, it was a rare use case, but it definitely does happen with certain OTP codes. Now you have a 200 character OTP limit. Hopefully that is long enough for all of the OTPs that you may have. But again, a big little change that now should allow you to have all of your OTP codes stored inside of Hoodoo. Assign password colors in bulk. I kind of talked about this earlier with kind of editors and authors being able to do things in bulk, but now instead of going into your passwords one by one and associating a color with them, did Peter use 201 OTP code? Sorry, we'll have to change that next time. We'll go to 202 for you, okay? But now these users can go in and assign color in bulk. Makes it a lot easier, streamlined process for just adding colors, a little more organization to your passwords there. Filter documentation by star rating. So if you use our documentation quality feature, definitely a good one to kind of know what companies that you have are highly rated in terms of the documentation quality score. Which ones maybe do you need to add some more documentation to and revisit things and say, okay, why don't we have these documented for these companies? Now you can sort by filter rating. So if you want to go check which of your companies have a 1-star documentation quality, you can do so and make sure that you're going and taking a look at why do they have a 1-star documentation quality. Um, Last one here is no more copying and pasting for email addresses. This is, again, a lot of these features are going to be things that just save you that time that you need to go do other things. And so this is one of those items where now you can just click on the email address as well. You still have the copyable button for copyable text, but it'll open up that email directly for you there. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and make sure that we are answering everything in the Q&A. Jordan, I'm going to jump to you since you've been monitoring this for a bit, and if you have anything you want to touch on before you get into your section here, we can go ahead and do so, and then we'll jump into your stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Daniel. Got most of the questions answered. If I ask for some additional feedback, just feel free to throw that in the Q&A again, and I can kind of reevaluate that. But talking about some of the questions, plan to include some external portals. Scott, I did answer you, but I may have something you'll like during my section that we can talk about. Uh, Custom views, table views for being able to show in the list. That was a couple questions in the chat and the Q&A. So that's on a per technician level basis. It's not going to affect what columns your admins have set for being available in the table view, but does allow your techs to kind of configure what they need to see and what's the most valuable for them. I think there was some questions on given that being a little bit too much power to them. So that's something that we can definitely kind of evaluate and see if there'll be a disable option on that or something, but can definitely understand the use case there. A couple of questions on mobile app. So yes, with the photo folders, those will be available in the mobile app as you're uploading them from your camera roll or taking pictures on the go. Folders will be available to place those photos into. Mobile app is also getting a little bit of a navigational UI redesign as we've added so many more features to it since the initial release. So should have that a little bit better UI there as well. A lot of questions coming in, so let's just make sure. Brian, bulk tagging and tagging via the API. Jacob is answering you right now, so he'll have a pretty good in-depth answer for you. But I will have a little something there for in my section. Misha, is there a way to using screen captures with self-hosted and without using a public frequently qualified domain? I don't believe so. I think that is going to need that public FQDN. We are kind of evaluating a desktop version. I'm not quite sure if that would accomplish what you're looking for, but if you want to shoot me an email, jordan@hoodoo.com, happy to discuss that a little bit more in depth with you. Can bring in my team as well to have some better answers for you. Would be cool to automate a color to a password based on a URL or folder it's in. Amelia, great suggestion. We have a lot of ideas for the workflows, kind of auto naming, password colors is a great idea as well. If that's not already a feature request or a post in our community site, please feel free to throw that in there. That way we can discuss that a little bit more in depth.
Jordan, I think for now, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and jump into your section here and we can go ahead and continue answering questions. And then again, everybody will have a designated Q&A section right after Jordan's section here, where we'll have time to go through and answer all your questions. Just want to make sure for time's sake that we're jumping into your section here. So if that's all right with you, I'll go ahead and jump into things for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Daniel, for keeping us on track.
No problem.
All right. So starting off, this actually just came in as a question. So good transition there. This is going to be the upcoming. So this is, next release. Maybe some of these features will get pushed back one release, but they should be very soon. First up is our PDF overhaul. So what this is going to include is one, it's going to be a prettier export and prettier PDF runbooks. Be able to include those password OTPs, expanded like table of contents, so you can actually navigate those run books or those super long run books if you're generating one for everything. code block styling, better watermarks for branding those PDFs, a ton of photo fixes. Photos have always been a little bit funky inside of the PDF, so those hopefully will work a lot better for you. And in general, a lot of bug fixes on the PDF runbooks overall. And then that question is also being answered by Jacob in the Q&A. So take a look at his response if you have any more. Thanks, Daniel. You can go to the next one. So archiving improvements. So really, this is going to be focused on the expirations. Right now, there's kind of a disconnect between archiving records and deleting records and what happens to the expirations. So we're adding a true archive to expirations, as well as auto or kind of smarter auto archiving. And if you archive a record, that expiration will also be archived. You are also able to delete an expiration if you'd like. The reason the delete didn't really work in the past, though, is integrations can also create those expirations. So if you want it to not continuously pop up on every resync, you can go ahead and archive and kind of get that out of the view. We'll also be removing these from the global tab, likely adding a filter if you do need to see those, but they won't be in the global tab natively. And then, of course, API endpoints. We want our API to be as robust as possible. So pretty much everything we're going to be adding will be available via the API for anybody who likes to dabble with scripting. All right, real popular feature requests that we've gotten, obviously specifically with our Halo customers and all of the expansions that Halo's been doing with their AI ticketing and being able to kind of auto-suggest answers based on the documentation, is bringing the Hoodoo articles into Halo. So this will be an additional integration setting that you can enable. You'll be able to choose whether you want that to be central KB articles, company KB articles, which companies you want to bring over and sync your Hoodoo knowledge base articles into Halo. It will tag those Hoodoo articles with a little basically tag on inside of Halo, so you know that they are syncing from Hoodoo. Halo is also working to add a disable editing option on their side for us. That way changes can't be made on the Halo side and potentially end up with some discrepancies between the articles. A lot of images will come over. There is some difficulty with some types of images, but you'll have links back to Hoodoo with these articles as well, and you'll be able to use these with their AI ticketing response. So real neat feature, highly requested, and currently slated for the next update. All right. So one of the big things we've been working on a lot is our tables. So if you've been coming to the product recaps or the product webinars over the last couple, we pretty much make table improvements every single update. This is just another one. We've been expanding our filtering options, being able to give you the views that you need to work with the data that you actually need it for. So global table filtering, we did add a lot of filtering for expirations a couple versions ago. This will be for additional things like passwords, filtering by colors, by tags, including ones that are not tagged, table filtering for those flag reviews. So like we added the workflows, you can automatically flag things. Now you'll actually be able to filter based on those flags and actually find the flagged information and review that a lot easier. And then, of course, assets as well, by being able to filter by those list select values. And additionally, going to continue expanding on the filter options with our new sidebar widget that looks very nice. Alrighty, so related items. This is pretty much what I tend to consider one of the most powerful features inside of Hoodoo, being able to create that navigational map between relevant information. We're going to make that UI a lot easier and a lot more powerful. So you're going to be able to preview your related items. So without having to actually navigate away from the current page you're on, you can preview what a related item looks like. We're also changing the UI to move away from the modal and into that sidebar panel that we've been using for a lot of different things. So just should be a little bit cleaner. And then you'll also be able to see company names. This is a surprisingly big request that we get. A lot of documentation can be named the same, but maybe within stored within multiple companies. So you'll actually be able to see that as well, and know which asset or which related item you're actually clicking into. Alrighty, so that was my coming soon. Those are going to be updates that are much closer to actually release. This is our in queue section. So these features are at varying stages of development. Some will be released sooner, some will be a lot longer kind of term projects, but they're all going to be fairly probably released around the end of Q4, early Q1 of next year, depending on the project. Alrighty, so instead of, since I don't have a lot of images for these, I kind of grouped all of these together and I'll just kind of run through and explain a lot of these. So multiple SSO ID providers. So being able to basically add additional identity providers to your SAML app. This is great for co-managed situations where they may be using, say, a different Azure tenant or a different identity provider completely. As well as getting some portal SSO enablement as well. Asset layout form builder. So this is something that we have wanted to kind of update for a very long time, is how you actually build those asset layouts. Right now, there's a lot of clicking to different pages, having to come back. So we are revamping the entire experience on how you actually build those to be a single pane. You can add new fields, see what fields they are, rearrange all from a single screen without having to click back and forth to actually build out an asset layout. ConnectWise PSA refresh. So a couple updates or webinars ago, we did start with the Cloudflare integration and completely overhauled the integration UI to make it a lot more clean, easy to use, and actually give you some statuses of how that integration is, whether it's syncing, if it's in progress, stuff like that. We're going to be bringing that to the rest of the integration, starting off with ConnectWise PSA. So this is really just a UI and performance enhancement, but it will help with hopefully making those integrations a little bit easier to set up and more intuitive. Did mention it in a question, bulk actions for photos. So being able to essentially organize them with folders in bulk, being able to move them around, delete them, and again, in the future, after this update releases, being able to archive those photos, both individually and in bulk. Right now, there is no archive functionality, just delete. So we want to bring that archive functionality as well. Processes. So processes are probably one of my favorite features inside of Hoodoo because they are incredibly powerful. There is a lot of things you can do with processes, but they are currently pretty underutilized by customers because they're a little bit complex on the UI. So a complete overhaul is happening to processes to not only make them more powerful, but also more intuitive and better UI. We are converting to the idea of process runs and moving away from templates. So we have a lot of different templates for processes. We have those global process templates. We have company process templates. Instead, you're just going to be able to create runs from those processes. So you create a process, generate a run, and a run is a process that is ran at a specific time frame. So this will hopefully make it a lot more intuitive to actually start using those. With this overhaul, there's additional functionality like reoccurring processes, subtasks for processes, being able to assign process steps to multiple people and in bulk, better completion notes, just a better UI overall. So that'll be a big one and coming very soon. And last up is labels. I've seen a couple questions already come in about being able to tag additional things. As of right now, passwords are the only thing that can be tagged, and tags will probably, at least the word tags, will probably be specific to passwords for the future. Instead, we're releasing what we're calling labels, which will help keep relevant records organized. So you'll be able to group things under, say, a Microsoft 365 label. This will be available via the API to sort and filter by. And it can be applied to specific record types. So companies, assets, passwords, KB articles, whatever you'd like, labels will be, I think, a lot of people's best friend. And next up is the biggest of the in-queue features. We heard a ton of feedback last webinar about the portal experience. And I think we probably got, I don't know, 25 questions at least just on the external portal. So we did reprioritize that into our roadmap and have basically put it into development. So this is a little bit of a longer term feature than the rest of the in-queue features, but we're going to be overhauling the portal experience completely. So it'll be a similar similar to what you're used to in terms of kind of how you're setting it up, but the things that you can do with the portal will completely change. So you'll be able to collect documentation from your end users. They'll be able to submit forms and actually gain information that can enhance their own documentation, and then you can share it right back out to them, just like you can with the portal right now. End users will be able to request service, as well as you'll be able to build out a service catalog, and they'll be able to report problems or just request that service with an ITIL based form, and that will sync directly to your PSA. And then just general, more client convenience. You're going to have access to more tools, IPAM, racks, all of the asset layouts, knowledge base articles, passwords, expirations, photos that are attached to things. They're going to have the ability to search all of that information in a more intuitive way. And like I mentioned with the previous SSO feature, Portal SSO is also coming. So yeah, that's a big feature. Again, we heard a ton of your feedback in the last webinar, and we wanted to reprioritize this one because of all the feature requests. So hopefully this is a pretty exciting one. Again, much longer, well, I don't want to say much longer. It's a longer term project than the rest of those in-queue features, but we are hoping to get this out as quickly as possible. This should hopefully be the only portal that your customers need to use. Larry, great question. Will clients ever be able to store their passwords? I don't even know how I missed adding that onto this slide. Yes, they will have access to their own My Vault and the browser extension as well.
Yeah, big one there. All righty, sweet. So I'm going to quickly cover a couple of resources and then we're going to jump in. We have a lot of questions right now. We'll get through all of them. But I want to finish up real quick because if we need to go a little bit over to make sure to get the questions answered, that's just fine. But want to get through the rest of this real quick. Jordan, you can go ahead and take any questions you want to answer just by responding, and then we'll go ahead and just open it up for Q&A for the rest of this here in about 2-3 minutes.
Perfect.
So I've mentioned the community a couple of times throughout this webinar, and again, the community is growing every single day, but there are a couple of really nice features for you in the community. Automation Library, super popular one where both ourselves as well as many of our customers have been uploading different scripts, PowerShell, N8N, Roost, migration scripts in that community. And so if you're interested in learning how I can script certain things out better, how I can better leverage the Magic Dash, if you need to migrate information over, if you're interested in N8N, a lot of resources for you there. Events, you're obviously all attending this event, so you found the link somewhere. The community is where we'll post events for everything, so you can stay up to date about upcoming webinars, conferences, things like that. Discussion. What we're doing here is what we can do all the time in our community, right? If you have questions, if you have requests, if you want to just chat about things with other Hoodoo users, like I saw something earlier, which I'll get to a little bit later, but how you're using processes, right? That's a good thing to ask in discussion so other people can come in and talk about their specific experience. And then release notes as well, of course. Every release we'll post there, both bug fixes, main release, browser extension, mobile app, etc. So stay up to date in the community. Again, highly recommend checking it out. community.hoodoo.com if you haven't joined yet. Also, big news. Maybe you follow us on LinkedIn and on X, on Facebook. Well, we are officially on Instagram now. Our follower count is raising quickly. So jump in on the fun. Follow us at Hoodoo HQ. We'll be posting similar things there. If Instagram's your social media platform of choice, feel free to join in. We'll be posting content and updates and everything there as well. You can scan this QR code, or again, Hoodoo HQ is our handle. We're going to be Instagram famous, Jordan. I know it. Um, Next is G2. If you're loving Hoodoo, if you love being a customer, love what we're doing here, please feel free to go to G2, give us a review. It goes a long way. And we love reading them too. We love seeing why you love Hoodoo, what's great about it. And so definitely, if you have the time, have a chance, please feel free, go to G2 if you haven't yet. Give us a review there. It definitely goes a long way, and we very much appreciate it. Recent webinars, I just mentioned the automation library with N8N, and also Brandon also contributed some scripts there as well. These were two very powerful webinars. If you haven't attended them or um, taking a look at the recordings. If you're interested in N8N and learning a bit more about that, Jordan and Max, who was a Hoodoo customer that really kind of piloted the N8N Hoodoo node, went into a background on N8N, how it's used, and some examples of what Max has done with N8N as well. Really powerful webinar if you haven't checked that out. And then also just as powerful, we did a webinar with Brandon where I hopped on with him and kind of he is one of what we would consider a power user of Hoodoo, does a lot of scripting to make his documentation as automated as possible. And so if you haven't checked that out as well, we in that cover automation with Roost, but PowerShell as well, and just various cool scripts that can be ran to kind of enhance your automation with your Hoodoo documentation. So feel free to check those out in the community, both powerful webinars. Upcoming conferences. We have two conferences in the next 2 months, DattoCon and IT Nation. We've gone to IT Nation the past, I think, 3 years. So this will be the fourth time coming. If you're going to be there, if you're going to be at DattoCon, come meet us. Come say hi. I will be at both. Love to meet you guys in person every single time. It is great putting a name to a face. And it's always great to just come chat with us. Also, if you don't have any Hoodoo swag, that's your best chance to get them. Come get a koozie, a shirt, a pen, or even a sticker. You can get whatever you choose there. But we'd love to meet you in person as well. So definitely come check us out if you're going to either of those conferences. Alrighty, we can now jump in and just answer questions live on the rest of this call today. We have 15 minutes left, perfect timing. That's what we always shoot for. So great job, Jordan. And yeah, we'll just jump in, Jordan. I'll shoot it over to you as you've been monitoring the Q&A a bit, so you can answer some of these upcoming feature questions. And then I know there's a couple in the chat that I'll throw your way as well, but if you want to do some in the Q&A, I will go through the chat and make sure we get some of those answered as well.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Kind of going in, just reading through these. Manuel, yeah, please, if that mobile app bug does persist, please feel free to shoot our support team a question so we can have our team look at that a little bit more in depth. Josh, would really need to be able to see SSL details and expirations while disabling alerts on SSL. Would you mind expanding on that? So alerts aren't enabled on that by default. Expirations are, but if you don't mind expanding on that, I can hopefully answer that a little bit more in depth. Will there be a workflow that will flag KB articles when they have not been edited in a given amount of time, i.e. flag them so tech can review them? Joe, yes, that's definitely something we've talked about. Definitely want to add kind of a trigger, which has not, or probably a stale documentation trigger, has not been updated in X amount of time. That X amount would be customizable and be able to add that. So yeah, definitely on the radar. If you'd like, throw that in our community or on our feedback.hoodoo.com page, just so we can keep track of it. But yes, already have plans to add a trigger like that. Will labels be used for something like ConnectWise PSA company types? Currently, it just comes through as a comma separated string. It'd be fantastic to have them be proper labels / tags. Logan, so not initially. That may be something we can evaluate after the release of labels. Labels for the at least interim will be Hoodoo UI specific for right now. Will we be able to move a photo between assets? So not with these photo changes. Definitely something we can evaluate. Would kind of love to hear the use case a little bit more there, though. Is it planned to make assigned process tasks available for third-party systems by webhooks or API? So Manuel, yes, the processes got a ton of API endpoints in want to say it was 2.37. Could be wrong on the release version there, but we do plan to expand after that process overhaul of adding additional endpoints. So I want to say yes, you'll be able to do what you're trying to accomplish if you can't already, but will be after the process overhaul. So Emil, thanks for the additional context. Some websites we would like an alert for expirations, but not for all websites. So yeah, there was another question similar to that about basically further customization and granularity of the alerts. It's definitely something we're looking at, kind of building upon. I have a couple features in development with my team on alerts right now. But yeah, throw that in the community for a discussion or on the feedback page, and we can definitely evaluate that. With the workflows coming out, alerts and workflows do kind of correspond. So whether it's a additional alert capacity or something we can do with workflows, we can evaluate that. Will the labels be searchable? Is bulk flagging coming soon? Will we ever be able to filter out archived assets in the global flag review area? So yes, on the filtering out archived assets, definitely something we're going to be adding in. Labels will be searchable, I believe, initially. I could be wrong on that, but it is definitely something we've talked about. And then bulk flagging coming soon. Haven't talked about that too much in depth, but something we could definitely add. We've been expanding those bulk capabilities a lot for users, so that's just one we'd need to get on the roadmap.
Yeah, Jordan, now going into some of the chat things that I saw. Next major release, we had Morgan ask if this is a Q4 target, so kind of just when the target for the next major release is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So 2.39.3 is coming out very soon. So that'll be the hot fix, and that's kind of what's been waiting. That will put everything in 2.40 into QA, and we're hoping that'll be a pretty early Q4 release. Probably a little bit of a longer beta period on that, as I was talking about. We've got a lot of big features coming out. So if you want to get in on that beta, we do have that beta program available. You'll need a self-hosted environment, but we do offer a development key for active customers. So reach out to our support team if you need help getting that set up. But the 2.40 should be very early Q4.
Perfect. And then we had some little comment in the chat. Processes are a bit laggy when having more steps with screenshots. As Jordan mentioned, we are completely rebuilding the processes section. So the performance on processes and specifically the process runs should be a whole lot better going forward. And then Peter, to your comment, I haven't gotten into processes at all yet. Would love to see a demo or video of something simple in action. If we get through all the questions, happy to do a quick one today. Otherwise, I'll shoot my email in the chat as I always do. Feel free to shoot me over an email and we can schedule something out. And I'm more than happy to kind of talk about that. Again, they will be changing here pretty soon. So the core functionality will remain somewhat, but might want to, if you're not using them now, may want to wait until the runs are out. But we can definitely talk about that as well.
Rerunning updates processes, yeah, those kind of quarterly processes that you may need to run. That'll definitely be a big use case of the new overhaul. Great question or great ask.
And going with the process runs, Josh asked, will the process live at the global level and runs of the process are generated at the company level?
So yes, so global process templates will still exist. Essentially, the runs will be generated at the company level, though. So really, what we're really just changing the company templates and kind of how those work. Global process templates and the kind of the core being able to create those across multiple companies will still exist. We'll probably run some updates to those as well in a future version, but this is basically getting the company templates and runs a little bit more streamlined there. Any other external apps, works in progress, like Hoodoo Screen Connect extension for other RMMs? Not at this time. It's definitely something we've evaluated. I assume you're meaning like for TeamViewer, there's specific ones. If you do have specific ones, definitely something we can evaluate, but at this time, it's not on the roadmap. Josh, thanks for the additional context. Right now, if I want to not receive alert on an SSL for a specific site, the only way is to disable SSL tracking for that site, which removes all SSL details as well. Okay, yeah, that definitely makes sense. If you want to shoot me an email, happy to discuss that a little bit more in depth. It might be something we can, talk about a little bit more and get added or evaluate what options we have there. Peter really need to have that CSV export of our table view. Yeah, understandable. Something again, like I showed off with the PDFs, CSVs are also on the roadmap to kind of get a little bit better, specifically around kind of list selects and that table view, especially with the custom views that you can create with those customizable table columns. So.
Perfect. And in the chat here, we just provided a link to get a $25 gift card for G2 reviews. Again, I know I mentioned that briefly just a second ago, but if you haven't submitted a G2 review for us already, we'd love your help with adding more. So feel free to click that link that Amy just sent there in the chat and get that $25 gift card.
Yeah, absolutely. With that, I think they G2 did add a specific IT documentation category. So we are only got a few reviews on that specific category. Would love to get some more in that space. So when people are searching for IT documentation, Hoodoo pops up as one of the companies you can evaluate.
Awesome. Looks like we have one more question here in the Q&A, and then I believe we have answered everything. Jordan, it's another process runs one if you want to take it.
Yeah, Josh, great question there. So the question is, will process runs be generatable from global process templates ad hoc at the company level without having to have a company level version of the template? So basically, the idea is that most up-to-date version of the global template is what is being used to create runs at the company level. So yes and no. So the global process templates will exist exactly how they are now. If you are going to generate a run, you would have to create a company level process from that. But there is going to be an option at the global process template level to, basically by default, they will be attached to the global process template. So changes made to the global process template will now filter down. You can also detach those processes though. As soon as a process is detached at the company level, it would not get the updates from the global process template. But by default, yes, they will be attached and processes will trickle down. Previously created runs will not get updated. So just newly created runs from that company process, but you would just rerun it. It would have the new changes without any manual work at changing that. So
Perfect.
great question there.
Sounds like process runs is a popular one that we're releasing soon, and obviously the portal. But yeah, as Jordan mentioned, a lot of those initial features should be coming here soon in 2.4. As you can tell, the releases aren't stopping anytime soon. So continue to put in your feature requests, shoot us emails if you have questions, reach out to our support team, and join the community and kind of get engaged with other Hoodoo users that are all in this channel today as well. We wrapped up a couple minutes early today, which is great. So thank you again for joining. As I have always said when we hop on these webinars, these are always my favorite ones to do, because we get to engage with you, more than in any other. So thanks so much for joining and engaging in the chat, the Q&A, asking questions. Hopefully you enjoyed what you saw today, and hopefully you're excited about some of those new features and are enjoying the ones that have been released in Q3 here. Join our community, like I said, follow our socials, sign up for our newsletter. Again, these releases come frequently, so make sure you're staying up to date on the new features that we are adding. I think that's it from me. Jordan, if you want to kind of sign us off for today, feel free to do so.
Yeah, thanks, Daniel. Like he said, thank you for joining the webinar. I got to agree with him. This is probably my favorite webinar to do. It's fun to hear all the questions and all the interaction with the webinars. So we will continue doing these, every quarter. So feel free to join anytime that you can. Recordings will always be posted. So if you happen to not be able to make one, that's okay too. You can always, reply to our post in the community and we can discuss these a little bit more in depth. With that, join the community. It's the best place to discuss potential features with myself, with the rest of our team. All of our engineers are on that, so you can actually start talking with the engineers directly to learn about the approaches that they're taking or to pitch ideas there. So once again, thanks everybody for joining. It's been a pleasure to showing off the features today, and let us know if any questions do come up.
Bye, everybody. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.